And welcome back. Friday Jobs Day. This is Bloomberg News. I'm Lori Rothman. Payrolls at temporary help agencies are starting to show improvement. Does that signal that the overall employment picture will improve? Adecco is the world's largest supplier of temporary workers, and Tig Gilliam is CEO of Adecco North America. We're pleased to have him join us now, giving us his perspective on the market. Welcome to you, Tig.
Thanks for having me.
So this is really now another month, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a fifth consecutive month that we've seen an uptick in temporary employment. First, tell me what you think that says about not only your industry, but the jobs market as a whole.
Well, in any recovery from a recession, temporary employment is a leading indicator for the overall jobs market. So we've now added 284,000 temporary jobs since August of '09, and that's the trend that we need to see. 50,000 a month over the last 4 months, and that's a leading indicator for us.
A leading indicator in that these temporary jobs may turn into permanent jobs.
Well, in two respects. One, when companies want to get back into the market and they need resources, but they're unsure about the recovery, they generally go to temporary or contract workers first before they hire permanently. So that's a pre-indicator for that. But also for many individuals, those temporary jobs or projects or contract assignments can turn into permanent employment for them as well.
So 9.7 unemployment has to mean strong business for you at Adecco.
Well, 9.7 unemployment is a very difficult unemployment picture. So it means in a recovery like this that we'll see strong demand on our temporary employment side. Remember, on the permanent employment side, we're still down significantly year on year in the neighborhood of half of what the business was a year ago.
So which industries then, let's break this down here into detail, are you seeing the most promising job growth?
Well, first, the recovery on the temporary side begins in a lot of the supply chain-oriented product industries. So companies have reduced their inventories in the recession, and as the business begins to improve, they engage temporaries to help manufacture, distribute, and transport their product. And then that moves into the professional skill categories.
Construction jobs, bad weather. A lot of the economists are blaming bad weather, setting back some of the construction jobs. Do you expect, though, this sector to rebound now that we're coming into the springtime?
I think construction is going to be the hardest of all the segments. We've seen a leveling out in manufacturing, minus 11,000 last month, very near zero this month. So manufacturing has stabilized, which is terrific. I think it's going to take quite some time for the construction industry to make that turn.
How much, given that this was a better than expected jobs report for the month of February, how critical is it that we still get a jobs bill out of Washington?
Well, I think long term, we still have quite a road ahead of us in the jobs recovery. So the job market still needs help. It's going to take years to bring the unemployment level back to where it needs to be. So I think this should not be a sign that all is well and we can sit back and relax at this point.
Indeed. Okay, so the jobs bill, right, aimed to boost employment in construction and clean energy, also to offer incentives for small business employment. How specifically, though, will it help the temporary job sector?
Well, I think anything that helps jobs overall will help the temporary job sector in this marketplace. And remember that in a recovery, about 70% of the jobs are going to come from small and medium-sized businesses. The largest companies in America cannot make the jobs recovery happen alone. So I think it's very important that the stimulus or jobs bill do something to help the small and medium-sized business.
You know, again, you're down in the trenches. So if you can give me a sense of what business leaders are telling you and their level of optimism and how confident they hopefully are now becoming that we're seeing signs of economic recovery gain traction.
I think over the past 12 months, the sentiment with Adecco and Agilon Modus clients has improved dramatically. They've gone from planning the next reduction to planning the next increase. There is a very consistent theme from our clients, though, that they're looking for flexibility in their structure going forward. And I think there's a bit of a structural change taking place here where they're going to engage more employees on a contract, a temporary, or even an outsourced basis so that they have flexibility if this recovery isn't as fast or as strong as they hoped.
And that flexibility probably has to translate for the job seeker as well. So would you advise kind of a mindset change or an expectation or changing of the bar? Help me out, if you're one of those job seekers. How do you have to approach this challenge?
This is a long-time trend in many job categories. Many IT consultants work on projects, and they're used now to engaging on projects, and that could be with different companies over time. The same trend is taking place even in categories like doctors and nurses, who are moving from assignment to assignment in a geography with a different hospital or medical system. So that is a long-term trend that's taking place, and I think for a job seeker, many of them need to realize realize that some of the best permanent job opportunities are going to come through temporary and project-based work.
What kind of competition from the corporate end is there now for talent? Again, now that the confidence is improving slightly, is there going to be a rush for talent, and will that benefit the job seeker in the end?
Absolutely, but it's so specific to skill set. I mean, we talk about 9.7% unemployment, but if we break that down and go to Washington, D.C. and talk about someone with project management IT skills, there's 3% unemployment in that scenario. And there's definitely a war for talent in those specific skill capabilities that are hot. Nuclear engineering is a hot skill right now. There's plenty of competition for the best talent in that marketplace. So I think that equation really depends on what your skill set is and what you can bring to the company.
What advice do you have for someone who's looking, perhaps laid off in the recession, now looking to transition careers, and how you can use perhaps a temporary job to sort of test the waters?
Well, one of our businesses, Lee Hecht Harrison, specializes in just this, the career transition, helps about 100,000 people a year make that change. The first advice is to step back a bit. Lots of people lose a job in a particular industry and think that's where they're going to find their next job. And I think many people in this recovery are finding opportunities to translate their skills and experience and education into entirely new industries. So it's thinking broadly about those possibilities and options, and then really focusing your attention on the few opportunities you really want to pursue.
Tig, thanks so much for the conversation.
Thanks, Laurie.
Good details, great advice from you. Really appreciate it. Tig Gilliam is the CEO of Adecco North America.